Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show, and with me right now I've got a very special guest. He has worked for ECW as well as the Independents. I'm pleased to welcome the one, the only, Angel Medina to the show. Welcome, Angel, to Wrestling with Heart.
Well, thank you for having me on. But first, I got to get things straight. You said, you got to say the ECW original. You got to put that monarchy on the front page. Also, it's the Kingpin Angel because I did beat New Jack. I earned that status. So just want to let you know. I just want to clear the air on that.
Okay. Well, definitely. ECW original. You were there for a long time. We'll talk about that and get into that. But first, where are you from originally? Let's talk about your childhood and upbringing.
Well, I was born in Brooklyn, so I'm from New York City originally. So born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens. I grew up in well, I moved in Queensbridge in '77, so I was like six. So the infamous Queensbridge housing projects is where I'm from. I stake claim to that. A lot of famous rappers, from Mobb Deep to Poet, MC Shan, Roxanne Shante, Metta World from the Lakers. He's from Queensbridge. So there's a lot. Nas is from Queensbridge. So, Queensbridge is a legendary town of people who struggle to make it in any type of industry. Once it's like when you're at the bottom is the only way to get out is to the top, climb out.
Yeah, and the thing about music is that much like with wrestling, it's an escape, you vibe to it, you enjoy it, and you find something that you can relate to.
Well,
And
that's anything. That's anything. That's anything from sports to music to being an entrepreneur. That's the thing about being from Queensbridge. It's not just, the rap game. It's not the sports game. It's anything that you can strive. It just gives you that mental toughness to strive to be successful in any field that you want to focus
yeah,
on.
yeah, and you have to be positive and optimistic about, the journey that you're on because, we're only here, for just a short time. We want to make the best of it and the most of it and enjoy it and seize the moment. And wrestling, um, growing up, who were some of your favorites to watch?
My favorite wrestler back in the days. I just want to say like, man, that's very hard to pinpoint like favorites because I just had like Eric Embry, of course, the Four Horsemen, Tully Blanchard, Ricky Steamboat. Uh, just trying to think of people that are not the norm, besides Ric Flair. Oh my God, it's been so long. Iceman King Parson, the Von Erichs. Um, oh man, Ray Gun, just tons of guys back in the days. A lot of the AEW guys, Gino Hernandez, Adam, gentleman Chris Adams, that is never really mentioned. Those guys are staples of the industry that when I was a kid, I just always watched, on it was before it was cable. I mean, there was cable, but it was like the pinnacle, the beginning of cable. So I used to watch, I think there was a channel, ESPN, and at a certain time they showed like World Class Wrestling, and then TBS, and I watched, Clash of Champions and stuff like that. But yeah, those guys.
What was it about those guys that just made you go, I want to do this. I want to be in the business.
Well, I didn't at the time wanted to be in the business, meaning I was just a fan. That's the first and foremost, a fan out the gate. So I was never thinking like, oh, I want to be a wrestler. I was just it's like a soap opera, like women, not to point out women, men do too, but the majority of women that watch soap operas, let's say you got hooked on it when you were young, you're just watching every show, and then eventually you're like, man, I want to do that. So it only happened for me when I wanted to be a wrestler, maybe like in my, you know, it was like 16, 17 years old, but I was watching it from way back.
So, over time was when, you just developed that interest of actually pursuing it as a career, but you were mesmerized and fascinated with a lot of the guys that you had mentioned. I want to talk about some of the people you'd mentioned, Eric Embry and Gentleman Adams. I mean, two guys you rarely hear people mention as, like you said, like guys that, were staples. What was it about those guys that you liked and enjoyed?
The interview skills. They didn't have the Chris Adams was a judo expert, but I mean, some of those individuals had the skill with the microphone, like Dusty Rhodes, and they didn't have the body, but they were able to talk and grasp and catch people's attention. So sometimes it's not about what you look like, is what you just spit out, and just watching them and listening to them, how they had that passion in their voice in regards to like telling the fans, what they're gonna do, what they want to do to the individual in the ring. It just the way they just talked, you know, captured me. Ric Flair's a great talker. Eric Embry's a great talker. Chicky Star, even though he speaks Spanish, when he worked for Carlos Colon, great talker. You know, and Chicky Star was not a physical specimen. But he had that passion and that grit in his voice that made people believe of what he was going to do in the ring. It's different. It's different from back in the days. I wish certain things of today's era was, when I was younger. I wish I had a performance center. I wish I had the guys like, let's use Eric Embry and Chris Adams being coaches and guiding me and just molding me to become the best. But unfortunately, back in the days, those are the type of things that you had to sit in front of a mirror. You had to just think about it. You had to practice different tones and stuff, and watch a lot of videos and try to mimic your heroes or take a little bit from Jake Roberts and a little bit from Dusty Rhodes and a little bit from Jesse Ventura, trying to mix that up, so you don't be like, oh, he sounds, like use it for example, like how Jesse Ventura and Hulk Hogan really kind of like mirrored um, Superstar Billy Graham. So even though they build their own individuality, people still go, Superstar Billy Graham, that's his gimmick, But if you could just take a little bit of somebody, a little bit of here, and just like mold it into your own and emphasize who you are, because remember, wrestling personas are just you 10x. So if you're a real quiet individual, just 10x that, and that's your character. So that's all it is. If you're shy, 10x that. Just try to get past that. And don't try to pretend to be something that you're not. Just be who you are, but 10x that. And then it just becomes natural.
It's definitely something that you have to really practice and put in the work, not only with the physical aspect of it, but mental as well, because you're trying to prepare to become this persona, and you have to find what makes you unique, what makes you stand out from the rest of the pack, so that you can become one of the top stars in whichever company you're working for. You
No, I
know,
agree.
yeah.
You
So
know, but the thing is this is that when you do something like that, you have to believe it yourself. If you try to pretend to be something that you're not going to believe it. And when you don't believe it, it comes across, people are not going to believe you because you're not feeling confident. But like I said, if you become who you are, the person you are, and be bigger than that, bigger, then it comes out more natural, comes out more believable. So that's all. I mean, it's just, but it took time. Those things, this is not something that just happened overnight. This is not something I go, hmm, huh. It was practice, it was thinking, it was writing things down, listening to other people, more experienced wrestlers, and then it clicked. But it took time.
who are some people today that you go, man, this person's got it? They have that larger than life ability to capture the attention of the masses.
Hmm. That's a really good question, because there's not too many of them. But I want to go with like use one like MJF, um, because again he's 10xing who he is, Um, there's certain individuals, it's just hard to like, then you got your Seth Rollins, you got your Roman Reigns, but it took time, you know. That's just real difficult because there's just not too many of them that just has the it factor. Um, and that's the thing. They just sit there and these are just cookie cutter characters. But there are some individuals that just has that passion, and you could just believe in. And CM Punk, like I said, if I'm leaving anybody out, it's just they just come at me sporadically. Oh yeah, this guy. Oh, this guy. But it's a very, it's a very small group of people, from my opinion, that has that comes across like, man, he has it. Look at Ricochet. I mean, great athlete, but when he cuts promos, not knocking the guy. It's just not, he doesn't sound believable. He's great in the ring, but when he cuts a promo, it's like, okay, when I get you in the ring, brother, and the clouds separate, and the sun beams down on me, and I have the power to excel. I mean, you're like, bro, garbage. So it's just that's why when I hear people talking like that, it's just funny.
You had mentioned earlier off the air that you had gotten your start with Johnny Rod's learning how to wrestle. Talk about the training process because
It's different.
it's hard.
It's different, man. Back then, it was a different beast, and that's why wrestlers. Let me explain something to you. Wrestling is a fraternity. Not everybody can make it, but now everybody makes it. If you, Johnny Rods was a very, and still is. It's just he's older now, so he's not. I'm not. I hate downplaying it, but the older you get, you're not going to get in the ring as much, and you don't move as quick as you used to, and stuff like that. When I got in the ring with Johnny, Johnny was like maybe late 40s, maybe in his 50s, and he was still going. And we had to run the ropes. He used to take a punching bag. I still remember it was an orange, no orange, yellow punching bag, heavy, maybe 100 pounds. And they used to lay it on throw it on the mat. You had to run the ropes over, back and forth, and then they pick it up and then they throw it at you, and you had to catch it and take a bump like a high cross body, and take a bump, kick out, and you have to kick out right because if you don't kick out right, the bag is gonna roll over your nose, and so you have to kick out right, get up, and then run the ropes back and forth. They throw the bag in front of you, you know, drop down, leapfrog. It was just and then Johnny got in there and stretched you, so the problem with guys now is that, and again, I'm not knocking the performance centers, but if you look at the people that are coming into the performance centers, and I don't know anybody, but I'm just saying, guys who are like polo stars and soccer stars and javelin throwers and tennis players and, you know, um, football players and soccer players, whatever the spectrum is, who have no inkling of the business, don't know who Eric Embry is, who don't know the Latin heartthrob Al Perez, guys, Manny Fernandez, all these guys that they back in the days, they don't know nothing about pro wrestling, but they see the glory of being a professional wrestler, and they get in there, and then when you get kicked in the face for real, not on purpose, but let's say you get kicked in the face, that's and you're bleeding, then that's when you sit there and go, is this for me? If you lose your teeth, you freak out. Is this for me? Do you come back the next day? So back in the 90s, and remember I was with Mondo Clean, Big Vito, LaGrasso, Devon Dudley, Matt Stryker, and Prince Nana. These are all I mean, I helped train Prince Nana. He says it many times in shows, and I love that guy. Just tons of guys that came from Gleason's gym that I know that are just tough individuals that, we break an arm, we keep pushing forward because that was the mindset of professional wrestling. Sorry for going off like a long, long tangent, but
No,
you know.
I mean you have to want it. You have to really put in the work and repetition, it's very important that you put the work in and put those reps in because this is a very tough industry. You have to show passion for it.
Well, the funny thing is that like back in the days you were tested, like everybody talks about strong style, I mean, but that's how it was in the 90s. you had to earn your respect, you know. Nothing bad, nothing crazy, you know, you're not getting beat up. But some of these guys, like when I get in the ring at the time, the younger version of me, you know, it's not like I wanted to hurt them, but I wanted to see what they can do and see what happens if something occurs. And some of these guys, you know, yeah, I tested them, and but that just gave us more grit and more oomph to be, you know, that we wanted to be there. You know, some of these guys, those guys I hit and they quit, you know, the next day because they just realized the same for me. I thought wrestling was fake. I thought wrestling was just being a stuntman. But yeah, even being a stuntman, you get hurt. Moves, you know, bags don't deploy. You miss the steps, you know, and you get hurt, you know. But yeah, it's predetermined, but there's still chances of getting hurt. And when you get hurt, that's when you have to like take that deep breath and go, is this for me?
Yeah, I mean, you can point to all the ladder matches of the 90s and early 2000s, with the Hardys and the Dudley Boys and Edge and Christian, or the cage matches with Mick Foley and The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. I mean, that hurts. That is so hard
Yeah.
on your body. Um, it's no joke.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, the Dudley Boys, you know, the more, you know, like I said, I know Devon from it's just funny because you know you when you watch wrestling, you see Prince Nana, you see Matt Striker, you see King of Old School, Steve Carino, but I knew those guys when we were just regular guys working, you know, like when we were nobodies. So when you see your friends become successful, it's just you're proud of them, but you always remember like where they came from. You know, that's why I love Devon, Stevie Richards. Those guys are still remember where they're from and they're grounded. Devon always helped me. Never asked him for help because I always felt like I never like asking for help, and he always used to get mad at me, like, "Oh, brother, I'm always here for you," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't like bothering you. You know how I am." He gets mad at me because I'm not mad at, but you're like, "Come on, dude, you're killing me," you know. But Devon's always helped me, and Stevie Richards always. I could text him right now and ask him for advice, and he'll answer me back without a hiccup.
You were part of ECW, and that organization was just, it still is so iconic. Hardcore really set so many trends for the industry. What was it like being a part of ECW?
Man, it was the best. It was the best, man. I love those guys. I love everybody. We were family. We joked around. We had adventures. You know, yeah, there were some crazy guys, Balls Mahoney, Axel, but I just still loved them. We were just a tight knit group. There was no egos. You know, I mean, you had to earn your spot. C.W. Anderson, great. I love C.W. You know, you had to earn your spot, absolutely. But once you fall into that fold, we were there to make everybody look great. You know, there was no egos. There was no, they wanted to make you look like a star. You know, even if it's Rob Van Dam, he wants to make sure that when you got in the ring with Rob Van Dam, that he, you know, this is not a just he puts you to a higher pedestal, so then you're equals. So then fans don't think, oh, he's just a jobber, he's a nobody. Everybody wanted everybody to be number one, successful. I love DCW.
How'd you get signed with ECW?
It's not how talented you are, it's who you know. That's the key factor. You could be the most intelligent individual on the planet, but if you don't network and you don't make connections, that knowledge you have, it ain't gonna go far. You know, because you know there's some people, whatever industry you're in, you're like, man, I don't know how this fool got this job, you know, because he's out like shaking hands and kissing babies. But how it really happened, true story, and I always tell the story to the day I die. I was at Gleason's gym because I knew Devon from back in the day, you know, from the beginning. You know, and Devon used to work at the post office in New Rochelle. He was a postal worker,
Hmm.
and I worked at a law firm as a mail clerk. So, you know, we used to go to Gleason's and sit down in the apron after workouts and just talk. And we used to take the train together, the F train, and he used to get off, I forgot what stop. He used to get off and catch the next train to go to New Rochelle back home. So, anyway, we became, you know, decent friends at the time. But then he left for ECW. You know, like they were looking for a Dudley, and and he got the job. I mean, there's more to the story to that, but that has nothing to do with it. But anyway, so so what happened was when we were in the ring, it was like a Monday or Tuesday, and we're working out with a bunch of guys, and there was this guy named Java. Jarvis Shabibi was a manager, like how Prince Nana is today. He wrestled, but he was just a manager. He knew what his niche was. So we were just talking. And he's like, "Oh man, I've been going to Philly, for the past couple of weeks. Devon told me to come down." And this is months later. I mean, this is after Devon left. This is like maybe 6, 8 months later, or even more. So he's like, "Yeah, oh man, that's cool. You're going to Philly. What are you doing down there?" He goes, "Oh, I'm training to be a ref. Devon kept telling me to come down, work out, and see if he give me a job as a ref." Awesome, great, awesome. So then it was like a Thursday, I'm sorry. Then he was like, "Yeah, I'm going this weekend, Saturday, oh, cool, whatever." So then Thursday comes. So we're working out. After the workout, we're standing on not after workout, but everybody's still working out. We're on the apron talking. And I'm like, "Man, you leaving for Philly this weekend?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I won't be able to go." I said, "Why?" Because my car broke down. And I'm like, "That sucks, man." And so we started talking. He goes, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna miss out. I really want to go, but I can't take my car." So then I said, "Hey, man, if it's cool with Devon, I could drive you down if that's cool. I'll take you down there." So he calls Devon, and Devon said, "Hey, that's great. Have Angel, tell Angel to bring his stuff. Because wrestlers, you always have to bring your stuff to shows, even if you're not booked. Just bring your stuff."
That'd
He
be
goes, "Bring your
great.
stuff." So I went and saw Devon, and he was like, "Yeah, man." And they always before show started, they always do a workout. So in the ring was Tracy Smothers, Nova, Guido, Chris Chetty, Danny Doran, Roca. Everybody was in the ring. There was more there to it, and they're working out, stretching and stuff. And Devon's, "Hey man, get dressed and get in the ring and work out with him." So I said, "All right." So I got dressed, got in the ring, did the stretching and stuff. And Tracy's mother was like the leader of that little workout session every time. So he pointed to me after other people worked out. He goes, "Hey, kid, why don't you get in here with Guido and have a workout?" So we did a wrestling match. Maybe give me 5 minutes. So we got 5 minutes locked up, did a move, back and forth, five, it was just on fire, but it was just back and forth, arm drag, drop kick, back drop, clothesline, hip toss, all that crap. After that, they were like, "Hey guys, we're gonna about to let people in, clear out the ring." So when we're clearing out the ring, I'm walking to the curtain, and I mean, it's literally like straight ahead of me was Paul Heyman, Sabu, and Rob Van Dam sitting there. I mean, standing and talking. So it looks like they were going over that match. So Paul's leaning over like one of those generals, that, on the war map, looking at the thing like, "What's that next move?" And they were looking at the storyline. And he looks up and he grimaces and he's like, "Hey kid, come here for a second." So I went over there. I said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Hey, I saw what you were doing out there. I really like what I saw. You know what?" And he was busy. You could see the wheels spinning. He goes, "Just stick around. I'll get with you. Just stick around." And that was it. And I said, "Okay, no problem, sir." And he got back to what he was doing with Sabu and Rob Van Dam. So I went and ran to Devon. I said, "D," I call him D. "Hey, D, Paul pulled me to the side, told me, he liked what he saw, but he just told me to stick around, but I don't understand." He goes, "Hey man, if Paul tells you to stick around, just stick around." I said, "Yeah, D, but I don't, Angel, I'm telling you, stick around. Just trust me." So that's how it panned out. So I went to the shows all the time. Every Saturday, I kept going to the shows. They kept using me for little angles, meaning like when the gangsters broke up and New Jack was a single wrestler, there was a storyline which never made TV, but I was dressed in black in a Carhartt. I mean, I was sweating in Carhartt, black jeans, black boots, and a Halloween mask and a hoodie. And me and Mustafa was the same type of build and height. And it was supposed to be like this mystery character, but everybody, "That's got to be Mustafa" and stuff. So I was doing little things like that until it took off. But it was all because of Devon. Devon was always there for me. Devon was always like, giving me advice. And, if I had questions, Devon went back to Paul, because I was still new and still didn't feel comfortable talking to Paul. So Devon always went on my behalf to help me out. Even when I got hurt, he was always checking up on me.
That's always good to have friends that look out for you, especially people
Oh,
that
yeah.
you've known for a long time and have people in your corner because that is important. That camaraderie, it goes a long way. Oh,
Prince Nana doll.
that's
I know you
very
can't
nice.
tell because he's too black, but all you see is teeth. I know that.
That's so cool.
I could say that to him. Anybody else says he'll get mad, you know.
So
But
cool that you have a figurine there. It's nice.
I always support my friends, man. Like I said, I give them crap about it. I said, I paid fucking $60 for this shit. Are you serious, dude? You're not worth $60. I text him and stuff, and he's like, he still owes me some coffee. So if he does get this interview, if you ever interview him, say, yo, Angel's still waiting on his coffee and the information that you promised him. I'm gonna text him and just curse him out. You know,
You'd mentioned earlier you have your nickname, the Kingpin. Tell me how you got that nickname.
it was stupid. When I say stupid, it's just funny because it didn't happen like sitting at a boardroom and okay, I'll tell you the story. It's real easy. One of the guys invited me to to Manhattan to Chinatown. There was a company, a couple of Jewish guys, nice guys that smoked a lot of weed. It was just funny, and they owned their own clothing line and it was called Kingpin. If you watch the old footage of me before I was dressed in baldigans, you see like a lot of t-shirts that I was wearing with a crown on it. And it was Kingpin wear. He gave me hats, he gave me jeans, he gave me t-shirts. So we did the interview just like I'm doing this. I had a baseball hat flipped to the front and it was in graffiti. It was hard to read, but you could if you knew graffiti, you knew what it said. And it was the angle where I attacked New Jack on the subway system with the guitar shot. It's in the Bronx. So we're behind the turnstile, behind these bars, in New York City. That there was these bars there, and Paul said, "Yeah, be behind the bars. It looks like you guys are in jail, so it just gives it that grit." So I was wearing the hat, and we're just ready to cut the promo, and he's like, "All right, we got this all set up, and three, two, hey, hold on a second," and he leans forward just like that, and he's like, "Hey, Angel, what's that say on your hat?" And I said, "My hat." And I'm grabbing it. Oh, it says Kingpin. Perfect. And he steps back. Three, two, one, go. And then I cut the promo, blah, 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 blah. Then it was televised. And then that was when Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney's coming to the ring. And we got the Baldies in the Bronx. We got the Kingpin Angel and the Mouthpiece DeVito. Let's see where they're up to. And that's how I got the name the Kingpin.
Hmm.
There was no brainstorming. Paul just said, "What's on your hat?" He could have said "big dicks," and he would be like, "Perfect," But it was already a big dick Dudley, so can't can't use that. But that's how the Kingpin came about.
Okay. It's very interesting. Now, you've wrestled so many people over the years, over the course of your career. Who have been some of your favorite opponents that you've gotten to be in the ring with?
Again, that's a lot. There's a lot of people that I clicked with, but I always had fun with Danny Doran, Roadkill, Balls and Axel. You know, my favorite is Kid Cash. Um, I had a lot of fun in the ring with him. It's just always had fun with everybody. But those are the guys that, do you think like Balls and Action, you thought you were gonna get hurt, but I never got besides the chair shots, but I never got hurt with them. When you look at them, you're like, oh man, these guys are stiff. But they were smooth as butter. So it's just those guys bring a lot of good memories.
Oh man, it's always good to have those memories from your time in the ring because you just, so long ago, but the fact that you're still able to remember those times is always good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just funny. I was just talking to my girlfriend, telling her, like it's funny the people that I have battles with, the New Jack and Chair Swinging Freaks, they all passed away, and there's only me and DeVito and a big Vito and Vic Grimes and PN News. I mean, everybody's still alive on the Baldies side of the fence, but it's just the guys that they were just good dudes. It's just they're all gone.
So sad, we lose so many people in the business, and it's hard when you've been on the road, with these guys and girls for so many years, and one day they're here, next day they're gone.
Yeah, and I mean, in that time, I mean, it was all about keep going. Your body was hurting. The drugs that were. I never done drugs. I don't do drugs. I never. I'm not CM Punk. I'm not I mean, I drank once in a while. I didn't have a problem with pain pills. I never really did it. Um, I just I just never had an addictive personality. I never got into cocaine. Never smoked weed. Um, This is not a like, just a no commercial. It's just I never done it. Always saw the downfall of people who got into that. And I never judged, that was their business, I never preached to them. And my vice was, and I'm going to be honest, my vice was I was young, I had no girlfriend, no responsibility. It was women. I was always every town. I was always looking for the next score. And it's the truth. I mean, I was young. I mean, you're young. Yeah. When you go out, you go to the
Sure.
clubs. That's your mindset. Like, man, I'm gonna hopefully I get something to smash. I mean, that's the truth. That's a man's mentality when you're young. Unless you're married. But so that was my thing. So anything would have happened like to me, like Kingpin Angel passed away in the hotel room having sex with four girls, had a heart attack live at 10 a.m., like that. But they would never had any issues with drugs with me.
Let's switch gears and talk about some of the stuff you've done outside of the business.
Sure, absolutely.
I know you've been involved with various charity organizations or have done things to help out in your community. What sort of things have you done to help out?
Well, I mean, from now, or you mean everything from the past to this to present?
Yeah, everything.
I mean, in the wrestling industry, I got involved in a lot of cancer patients, children that had cancers and or illnesses. I used to make appearances at church and hospitals, um, youth groups at schools, um, just a lot of outreach programs, that I got involved in. But then after that, I got into law enforcement. So then I started doing neighborhood cleanups and, community policing stuff in regards to giving out food, turkeys during the holiday, toy drives. Then I got into the masonry and the Shriners, so the Shriners Hospital, getting involved with kids like that and donating my time to help others who are, homeless. So I got involved in a lot of things. It's weird to see the Kingpin on TV and the Kingpin in real life because I'm a shy person. So I really don't like the spotlight in front of, it's just weird. The people go, you're a wrestler and you don't like to be in front of the camera. I said, well, yeah, but the character does, but the real me doesn't like that attention. So, I mean, it's just so many stuff that I've done that is just so like I said, I forgot right now talking to you, I may be like, oh shit, crap, I forgot this. But like I said, anything that has to do with children, also elderly people, I like to help.
Was there like a particular time or favorite memory that you've had over the years where you've been able to, brighten someone's day and make someone's day special?
Well, yeah, I mean the one that's the kind of like the pulls the heartstrings a little bit is when you go to the hospitals visiting kids. That's the one because you see tubes in them, and, the feeding tube in the nose, or you can see that they're ill, but they get like excited. I understand why John Cena does those Make-A-Wish Foundation things, or Johnny Depp makes his appearances at the hospitals when kids are just huge fans. So when I was relevant, and I'm not saying I'm not now, but when I was more relevant back then, and I used to go to the hospitals to see kids, and they knew who I was, and they just kind of like, get, they spark up when they see the wrestler come in, and knowing that they're sick or they're dying or they're waiting for some type of, whatever, bone marrow transplant or kidney transplant, whatever it is, and they just forget about that. And just at that moment, they're just a kid happy to see a wrestler. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it seems very heartwarming. It's very heartwarming, whenever you're able to make a kid's day feel special. And you talked about also helping the sick and the elderly. Any memories of that?
Yeah, I mean, they're no longer open right now, but it's the Kansas Masonic Home, so I went over there and done a lot of stuff with them. People, I mean, and I didn't really do much, but just go and just, play checkers or dominoes or talk or just listen. Some of those guys are pretty interested in talking about guys who was just like in World War II or Korean War or Vietnam and stuff, and they tell you good stories. And so sometimes they just want somebody to sit there and just listen and be interested in what they done in their past. I mean, I didn't really do much, but just sit there and listen and just give them my time and attention. Sometimes that's all they need.
It is all they need. You just never know what somebody's going through in their life, and especially whether they're a kid or adult, going through something. It's always good to make their day put a smile on their face because it's just so hard out there, and especially in the world we live in, it's rough. It's good that you're able to do that and go out there and get involved.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, man. I love doing that stuff, and I'm not looking for accolades. I'm not looking for a pat on the back. I'm just giving back to people, who, regardless if they didn't know who I was, but that's how you build your legacy. Regardless of what you've done on TV, your legacy lives on through the people that you always helped out. And I always tell wrestlers, when I help wrestlers out, man, because Devon helped me, and when I helped other people, I should say, hey man, just you don't owe me anything, just help out the next guy. That's how you
A-
pay me back.
Anybody that our viewers may know that you've gotten the chance to work with from the modern era, from the current era, when you talk
Uh,
about helping people?
well, Nana, Matt Striker, damn, it's just Luke Hawks. I got a shoot. I got a picture. Let me look it up while I'm here. But and he's a great athlete, and and watch now. I'm gonna have to look for it. I can't find it, but he's a great guy, and know him for years, and I know him since he was like 14. I mean, I was in my 30s, late, yeah, probably 30 when I met him, and hell of a guy, and I didn't help him like get into it, but I gave him advice, like really, really like um brotherly love advice, not like, hey, I'm gonna call this guy for you, or but there's other people like, hey, can you call this guy for me? And I did, like I said, I'm not stingy. I'm not selfish in regards to like some people don't like to help other people because they feel that they're gonna lose their spot. But I'm not that person, I've always been that cool collective and like helping people. That's the key factor. Sorry, I'm just trying to find that. Here it is. Bam. Let's see if you can see that.
Oh, there
And
you
Luke
go.
Hawk, yeah, and Luke Hawks is like I said, he's been in movies, he's been in the Fast and the Furious, he's doing the show Heels, and like he done a lot of stunt work. So I'm very very proud of him. It's not like we're buddies, but we're cool. You know,
Well, what is it about giving back to the community that just gives you the most joy?
just helping, man. Like I said, it's not about what you get out of it, it's what you put into it. So I don't have any. Like I said, I'm just happy that I just brightened somebody's day, just gave them my time, and just they're just happy, that's all it is. I mean, there's no reward factor on my end.
Well, Angel, this has been wonderful getting the chance to speak with you. I want to say
Well,
thank you for
I
coming
thought we still
on.
had like 30 minutes. You don't want to talk. Oh, it's like that now. I understand. No worries.
All good. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on here. We'll do a part two. Uh, you're more than welcome to come back. I just want to say thank you so much, and means a lot to me, to my listeners and viewers that are
No
watching this on
problem.
YouTube.
No problem. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for interrupting my Puerto Rico trip while I'm drinking a pina colada on the beach, and you're asking me about coming on the show. Yeah, I appreciate that. Um, but no, man. But I appreciate you even thinking of me out of all the guys you could have on your show who had more bigger names than I have. It's a great honor for being considered. Like I said, I always appreciate that. I appreciate people reaching out to me for that reason because it means that I'm still relevant in some factor, and I appreciate you even considering me to be on your show.
Absolutely. Where can people find more about you on social media if they want to reach out to you,
Oh, I'm on
check out
Instagram.
anything you're doing?
Oh yeah, man, I'm on Instagram. I mean, you can find me on Instagram, a.medina262, a.medina262 on Facebook. I'm real easy to find. I don't really post a lot of stuff because I'm tired of going to Facebook jail. So I just kind of like don't really post anything, but I'm there. I'm watching. Like you said, you reach out to me and I answered you quick. It's just I don't. I'm just tired of like reposting something. Like if you post something, then I repost it thinking it's funny, and then like 3 years later, they ding me for something. I'm like, what the hell did they ding me for? And I look and I'm like, well, I never posted that. I just shared it. and then I get the hammer, and I'm like, nah. And after a while, I just got tired of it. So that's why I don't post funny stuff anymore.
Well, hopefully one day you're able to post some funny stuff again, lighten things up. But Angel, again, thanks so much, and you're more than welcome to come back.
No, thank you again for having me. And again, you enjoy the rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully, you're not experiencing any type of storm like we did over here, a little snow. But
Yeah, we got a little snow back here, but hopefully it'll all
dissipate.
dissipate at some
All right.
point in the near future.
Well, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on, and you take care.
You too. Bye-bye. This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.